Welcome to the Impact Lounge, ladies and gentlemen. You are in the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. This is the Cool Factor Podcast. I'm your host, TW. And of course, we got the man with the plan, the owner of the Impact Lounge, the bartender, the barkeep, the doorman, Mr. BQ. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, people. No, what's up? I couldn't help but to notice you're rocking that Finesse Club shirt, man. It's funny because we were just talking last week where I sent the DM to him and the customer service wasn't too strong. So I was just like, yeah. And then here you are rocking it. So
we ride for Chris Bay over here. Okay. Like right now, I think Chris Bay is the leader of the new school. I have said it before. I'll say it again. I think Impact needs to use what they got in-house right now. They're so busy telling people that AJ Styles used to work here, and they need to worry about the AJ Styles they got in-house right now. I think his name is Chris Bay. Okay, it's Bay Day, and I'm with it. I'm team Chris Bay, Finesse Club. Let's do this.
I guess that's the well, at least they said it on the episode that it was the top selling shirt currently at Shop Impact. So as it should be, you know. So did you know he did music?
Yeah.
I just learned that. So I looked up his album
he's
on.
Real cool dude, man. I saw a lot of him on Ethan Page's blogs, and it's funny because like you see like clips of him like at the gym or whatever, just like totally out of character, and you know, just seems like a really cool, just chill type of dude. I've seen like some of his, I follow him on Instagram. And so like sometimes he'll go live on Instagram. Like he'll be just like playing his guitar, working on his album, like, you know, that type of stuff. And yeah, man, like, you know, he's never done anything that's made me as a fan be like, I don't want to mess with this guy. Like, you know, and I'm totally about, listen, trying to make it in the world of entertainment is tough. So you got to find some sort of niche to make you stand out. And this guy he has it, man. He has charisma. You can see him like physically developing more and more, like as the months and years go by. And like, I feel like we're watching a superstar really bud right now. And I just hope that the people in Impact Wrestling feel the same way that many of us do. And they don't let this amazing talent slip through their fingers. You know, like, if you go back and watch some of that early Impact stuff that they're always pushing on the Impact Plus app, you know, AJ Styles wasn't the guy he is now in 2007.
Right,
you know,
right.
You got to give people TV time. You got to give them storylines. You got to give them mic time. Let them develop and grow. And, you know, and that's how you get great performers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I remember he did that. He was in the X Division ladder match qualifying, and he was just like, he randomly was just thrown in these matches, and he did the one, I forgot who he went up against, but everyone was just clamoring at the time. Oh my God, bring this dude aboard. Because I think at that time, we still weren't quite getting the X Division style of wrestling that people wanted. Yeah. I think they were starting to transition into it. And he always really represented, oh man, this is what I remember the X Division was.
Yeah.
And Cody Rhodes had said he wanted to bring him to AEW, you know? So yeah,
I'm glad he didn't. I mean, I'm sure he probably was making more money if he was in AEW, but we just finished having a little conversation offline about the situation with AEW, why it might not have been in Chris Bay's best interest to sign with AEW.
Right, absolutely. So with that being said, dude, there's some rumors floating out there, and it came from Meltzer, so you can take Meltzer with a grain of salt.
Pause that 1 second. I know everybody heard Meltzer and they're really excited. And I just need everybody watching this right now. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Okay. We need to get more likes on these videos. I want the likes up. The last show, I think we got, let me see. I'll tell you right now. We only got 41 likes on the last show.
Well, that episode was released late.
Huh?
That episode is released late. So I was having some.
The episode has almost 400 views. 400 views. If you watch, as soon as you click on this video, hit the like button. Let's just get that out the way. As soon as you click on the video, hit the like button. If you're watching this right now, stop what you're doing, scroll down, hit the like button. All right, we back to it, BQ. You got some rumors for me. Let's go.
I was gonna say with that episode, I felt bad because I have getting work done on my house, and we had to unplug the internet. And when we plugged it back in,
we're putting in a new wing.
No, yeah, I know. My new quarters. No, we're putting I'm putting new flooring in the house, and we had to unplug the internet. And when I plugged it back in, I could not get a consistent stream of internet for about 48 hours. And every time I was uploading this freaking podcast, and when you're uploading video stuff, it takes a while. And I mean, this shit just kept cutting out. I was just like, oh my God. At one point, it was up to like 94%. And then I see the internet go down. I was like, oh my God, losing my damn mind. So now it's good to go. So, hopefully it won't come out that late again. But so Meltzer was talking about this. People can take Meltzer with a grain of salt. I always, joke, Impact Wrestling super fan, Dave Meltzer, But dude, for the most part, Dave Meltzer is correct. I mean, a lot of people want to say
Meltzer, man. Like people have been committed. Listen, if he's been delivering you quality content for years and you trust it, it's cool. I'm not hating.
I'm just saying, but for the most part, he's in the ballpark. If he's not right, he's not usually like way off. Like people want to say that he is. I'm not the biggest fan of the dude. I'm just saying. Usually when he says something, it somewhat comes to fruition. But he's putting the information out there, and people seem to be really excited about this. That Buddy Murphy, I think he's going by Buddy Matthews now, I think he's saying he is signed or is going to, but it seems pretty confident that that's going to happen. He said Bray Wyatt is another that the Impact is trying very hard to get. I mean, that's one of the few needle movers that Impact could add to the roster. I think it's a long shot personally. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but he was saying that they see it, the possibility seems real that they could actually bring him on because they can offer a different style of creative for him that WWE wasn't giving him. Because he is one of those guys that at this stage in his career might value creative control over, financial compensation necessarily. I think a lot of Impact fans like to say, okay, well, it's not all about the money. It's all about the money. Okay. There's a small amount of people who are like, okay, I've made my money. I'm not concerned about trying to make as much as humanly possible. Happiness does matter, but it's it's a smaller percentage, I think, than wrestling fans want to give credit for. And then Braun Strowman is the other rumor that Impact's expected to bring him on. I don't know like the credibility of this or how true it is. What concerns me if he were to come on is I would put him in the category of I signed with Impact because I didn't have any other options type of thing. Not I chose to come here, which if Bray Wyatt ends up signing dotted line, that is a signal saying, hey, I chose to come here over AEW. Like I wouldn't get that from Braun Strowman, but out of those three guys, what do you think, about those rumors and the possibilities of them showing up and how they could potentially move the needle for the company?
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned earlier, I'm not a Meltzer guy. I've never been like a Meltzer reader or Meltzer disciple. Oh my God. I think that he has programmed the minds of like 90% of the current generation of wrestling fan, and I hate it. So, but I love listening to like Eric Bischoff's podcast or like Bruce Pritchard's podcast. How like whenever comrades like Dave Meltzer said, and it's like it's bullshit. And they hate Meltzer. But anyway, the rumors of those guys coming to Impact, I think I hope it's true. You know what I mean? I hope it's true. And I think each of those guys, they have strengths. They're all completely different types of talent. And I think like, what you said, there's different reasons why and like, by the way, this past week, they made time to get Arn Anderson's kid on the show. They made time to get Billy Gunn's kids on the show. They made time to get, I think, Taz's kid on the show. So, like, if you're Bray Wyatt or Buddy Murphy or Braun Strowman, you better hope that you are more important to Tony Khan than Jungle Boy, because I don't think you are. Okay, like they have a specific type of fan that they are targeting, and it's the fan that thinks Darby Allin is cool, and that particular fan might not think that Bray Wyatt is cool, and they might not think that Braun Strowman is cool. Buddy Murphy, he seems like a great fit for AEW, but he also seems like he'd be a great fit for Impact Wrestling. Like, tell me you would not want to see a Buddy Murphy Josh Alexander match. That's a main event, dog. Like that's a match of the night on almost any card. Like I'm not like the wrestling critic guy, but Josh Alexander, this dude puts on match after match after match. It just makes you be like, yo, that was a damn match. And by the way, if anybody didn't see the match on Emergence with Josh Alexander and Jake something, go see that match. Like that match. Matter of fact, drop your comments down and let me know if you saw that match, what you thought of that match. That match was amazing. Those dudes beat the hell out of each other, and it was just a good slugfest. Like the match was crazy. Unfortunately, it was buried in a very newsworthy week going on other places, but that match between those two was incredible. And you mentioned about the X Division style, and I think he's kind of redefining what the X Division style is. You know what I mean? So you know, you take a guy like Buddy Murphy and you plug him into that sphere, and I think, man, like you got a recipe for some really good stuff. Again, like you mentioned with Bray Wyatt, I think this guy, he's obviously very creative. Like he mentioned having created the Bray Wyatt, the Fiend character a long time ago before it was ever on WWE TV. He's repackaged himself in WWE several times. Like they originally had him doing the Husky Harris thing. Then, think about from what Husky Harris was on the original version of NXT to what Bray Wyatt was, right? Like you can't get much more different than that. And even from what Bray Wyatt was to what The Fiend was, like this dude is incredibly creative when it comes to wrestling. So I think if you put a guy like this in Impact, and if you get Impact to say, hey, look, we're going to give you some tools and we're going to let you have some creative control, you're going to get some good, interesting TV. Between guys like that and like Sami Callihan, Impact can mess around and have one of the most interesting shows on television if they let these guys get creative and do what they do. And then Braun Strowman, look, man, he's one of those guys, like, there's not a lot of mystery to it, right? Like, like he looks like a superhero. Okay. So you sign him, right? If you can, you sign him. And here's the other thing too. If you're gonna play ball, you got to play ball. Okay. If you want to compete, you got to spend money. You got to take chances. You got to take risks. So look, AEW just laid out the blueprint. If you're going to have big stars come in, tease it, book a big building a few months out and try to sell it out, teasing these appearances, and then give the people what they want, and then create an atmosphere where you can continue to play those bigger buildings so that wrestling fans and wrestlers alike don't feel like they got to come to the small time. Because if you're booking 5,000 seat buildings all of a sudden, Impact doesn't feel so small time. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I love the fans that have been coming to the Impact Zone in Nashville. Y'all are doing a great job. Keep it up, man. Y'all are making that show 100 times better. Keep it up and keep doing what you do. But if you're gonna make some signings and make some big splashes, come on, let's do it. Let's take a chance. Let's take a swing. Like I said, if you're gonna, what I do? I would let the news drop that you signed Braun Strowman, and then have like a video message pop up where like, Moose, I'm challenging you at Bound for Glory. And he's not going to appear until Bound for Glory, but you'd be like, but boom, Bound for Glory is going to be at the XYZ arena. And then you start selling out that arena. Okay. And then you rumor that Bray Wyatt has been signed and that he's going to show up possibly at Bound for, you know what I mean? Like, rumor this stuff. Get the crowd full of these people. AEW has just shown you it can work. It can work. They laid out the blueprint. Just follow it. Okay, just follow it. So sign the people advertise them, and up your production value. And I think this could be huge for Impact Wrestling. This could be Impact Wrestling finally getting back to its apex, which was 2013. Bound for Glory 2013 was the apex of TNA. It was all downhill from there. And if they make these moves that we just talked about, they can be right back there.
Yeah, or at least in that general direction, because they need that next Kurt Angle signing. They need that next big star who's like, I choose to work here, not I have to work here, not the place I want to work isn't. They're not that's not a possibility. They don't want me. They can't sign me. So here's my number 2 or number 3 option, and I'm going to pretend it's not. I'm going to pretend it's my number 1 option. Like,
yeah.
Even you look at the Good Brothers, like we know that their number 1 option was AEW. That just didn't work out. That worked out for Impact, but they need that big star to be like, yo, I'm choosing to work here. And, that'll be a good look for the company. And it would be the beginning of trending upwards. Cause right now, they're trending upwards in a lot of different areas, but it's been in a snail's pace since Anthem has taken over. It just has.
Absolutely.
It is going up. Maybe not so much with live viewership, but I do think there's a lot of areas where it's going up. I think there's somewhere it's going down as far as the quality of the production quality and things like that. But you add a guy like this, and now all of a sudden people will come to see him. I mean, straight up. And I'm talking about Bray Wyatt, for instance. I mean, specifically. The other guys you can really do something with. I don't know who Braun Strowman would work with. That's my big concern.
Well, here's the thing too. If you're a big guy, part of the attraction is you pair them with smaller guys to emphasize, right, the difference in the two, right? Like, so you're not going to send Braun Strowman out there to work with Moose every week. You send him out there to pound smaller guys, have him beat up on Eddie Edwards. Okay, like, you do stuff like that. You have him work with the smaller guys, and then you pair him off with William Morrissey. Okay, like, you know what I mean? So there's Morrissey, there's Moose. They got a few big guys. They got Joe Doring. So when the monster match comes around, they got Gallows. They can do the monster match whenever it's time for it to come around. But again, the important thing to remember that with these big guys is you want to have them work with smaller guys to emphasize what's special about them, right? So you don't have to just put Strowman in with the biggest guys you got right away. I think he can work with everybody.
I think Impact would put him with the biggest guys right away, though. That's what my concern is. Braun Strowman would look huge in that little ass Impact ring. W. Morrissey looks really big in it. We always knew he was a bigger dude, but when he first stepped inside of the Impact ring, I was like, oh my God, this dude's huge. Braun Strowman would look like he would take up the entire ring.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Morrissey, he is a big dude. He's a tall dude. He's lean. I mean, like, he's a big dude. I think he's like, he's got to be 6'6". Got to be 6'6". So I mean, it works. But 6'6" on wrestling is 6'8".
I think he said he was 6'8". I think that's his shoot height. I know in WWE they build him as 7 foot tall, but I think he said,
oh yeah, okay,
6'8" was his actual height.
Oh yeah, if you're 7 foot on wrestling, you might be 6'5".
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I want to say real quick, I did the Brace for Impact podcast this week. They're through Fight Game Media. You can check out Fight Game Media. They got a YouTube channel where they post some clips, but their podcasts are done through Patreon. $3 a month. You can check out all their podcasts. They pretty much cover every company. So my buddy Mike, who does the Impact Republic podcast with me from time to time, he is the one who, well, not time to time, he's my co-host for it, but we do it once a month. He's the one who does Brace for Impact, and I stood in for someone who was under the weather, and I did do that podcast this week. So if you trying to check something out, that's another Impact podcast that is the one that I listen to, because I don't listen to a whole lot of wrestling podcasts, but when I listen for an Impact podcast, I check out Brace for Impact. So just check out Fight Game Media. Against $3 a month for their Patreon. And, there's some other podcasts they got on there, but That's where you can hear me on Brace for Impact. So I wanted to put that plug out there real quick, and now we can move on to this episode.
You guys need to subscribe to my Patreon too. I'm full nudes, everything you need.
Hell yeah. Bigbeautifullass.com. Yeah.
I've thought about subscribing to some Patreons, but like, I don't want to be like a jerk, but like, you know, I just don't want to. It's weird. It's weird to me. It's weird to me. I want to be like, oh yeah, this is great. I bought a little more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't want to. It's just, I don't know. Okay. All right. So, with an unforgettable emergence in the rearview mirror, the Stars and Knockouts begin their journey towards Victory Road on Impact. We start off with Chris Sabin versus Sami Callihan. So after coming up short in the four-way number one contenders match at Emergence, Chris Sabin and Sami Callihan look to bounce back with a win tonight. Sabin, just the action jump started. He takes a dive to the outside before the opening bell. Callihan quickly turns the tide with a power bomb, followed by a Death Valley driver. Sabin launches himself off the apron, colliding with Callihan on the floor. Callihan power bombs him back first into the steel ring post. That sounds like that hurt. Sabin sends Callihan into the corner with a drop kick off the top rope. It's a stalemate as both men take each other out with kicks to the head. Callihan delivers a curb stomp, then pile drives Sabin for two. Sabin comes back with the cradle shock to win. After the match, an enraged Moose attacks Callihan for costing him the number one contenders match at Emergence. Moose is about to do some serious damage with a steel chair when Callahan's greatest rival, Eddie Edwards, makes the save. What you got?
So this was an excellent match. It's an excellent way to kick off the show. This whole show in general probably wasn't the best episode. The crowd was clearly tired at this point and kind of came across dead on TV. They did last week as well. But that's to be understood because they've done several days of tapings. They were tired. I get it. Saw it with Orlando all the time. Saw it with anytime they've ever filmed television. It's always very obvious when they're shooting day one, day two of a set of tapings because there's a completely different energy with an audience. Mm-hmm. And they're just clearly tired. And usually the company, the actual episodes they put out also come across lazy a lot of the times towards the end. Like they're trying to, they go in full head of steam first few episodes, and the episodes typically tend to get a little bit worse towards the end, the end of the tapings. But it was a good way to start the show. I was actually shocked that Chris Sabin won. It really came out of nowhere. I thought for sure he was going to lose the match, but who does Sami Callihan actually really beat? He loses a lot, especially the more high profile matches. What I really felt after this match, though, when Moose came down and then Eddie Edwards came down, the first thing that popped in my head is like, wow, it is the same cast of characters messing with each other on a regular basis.
Right.
And we talk a lot about the main event scene being fairly thin. It's the same group of people that it was at the top of the year, that it was around Bound for Glory last year. For the most part, it's just been the same group of people. And that's just the first thing that popped in my head when when Moose came down, and then here comes Eddie Edwards. I'm just like,
right,
dude, the same people. Like, I'm just so they've already kind of made us forget that Rich Swann was the world champion not that long ago because they threw him in the mid card immediately. But with the exception of that, it's just the same dudes. So it was a fun way to start off the show. Again, I was actually really shocked that Chris Sabin lost, but I don't even know where they're going at the end. We're probably going to get, I think we already got this match, right? Eddie and what would the matchups be? No, we didn't get this.
Like, who hasn't Eddie wrestled? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten Eddie and Chris Sabin. I don't think we've gotten that.
I don't think so. Probably not anytime soon. I don't see, unless there's some kind of multi-man match coming up for a number one contender or world title, and they're like, okay, we got to.
What we saw here, it sounds like they're going with Moose versus Sami, right? Moose versus Sami. That's where that's probably going. I think Chris Sabin is going to get a world title match at some point. I thought they were trending towards Chris Sabin challenging Omega.
I thought so too. Yeah,
for the title. And so they'll probably, circle back to this happening again. We'll talk more about who's actually going to challenge the champion as we go on. All right. Taylor Wilde tells Gia Miller that she requested tonight's 3-on-1 handicap match against the Influence to put an end to Madison Rayne, Tennille Dashwood, and Caleb, with a K, once and for all. Then Eddie Edwards tells Sami Callihan that they're even after coming to his aid earlier tonight. Eddie demands that they stay out of each other's business from now on. Then
that won't happen.
Well, of course not, right? Odd Couple. they're the Impact version of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay. Let's embrace it. I just wish we would get a better in shape version of Eddie Edwards. I feel like Eddie is finally becoming he's become endeared and beloved to the Impact audience. And I just feel like I wish that in this run of his career, he would just rededicate himself physically so we could get the best matches he could possibly do.
Yeah, and I've commented about the hair before. Yeah, it's much different than the old Eddie Edwards hairstyle. But if we were going to take him serious as that main event dude, I would get away from that hairstyle personally. Yeah. I mean, who am I? You know what I mean? He's going to do what he wants. I'm careful what I say about Eddie Edwards because I don't want to ever disrespect Alicia Edwards like that. But,
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not dissing Eddie Edwards. I just feel like before, when he first won the Impact World Championship, when he won the GHC World Championship, I didn't know much about Eddie Edwards. And apparently he's got receipts. He has a resume of, great matches from around the world. And that's great. I just feel like at this stage of his career, I feel like people really are starting to get invested in him. You know what I mean? In a way that I just didn't see before. Yeah. And I don't know. Like I said, I think he could maximize it if he was in his best shape possible. That's all. I know he's done a character change, but I just think that you can just see him slowly becoming Tommy Dreamer. Right. And it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. No. Get on that Moose program.
Yeah.
All right. Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo interrupts Mickie James as she promotes NWA's first ever all-women's pay-per-view event, Empowerrr, this Saturday night. Purrazzo tells Mickie that she's giving off the wrong impression that her Knockouts title defense against the legendary Melina will be competitive. Mickie is unsure if Purrazzo is capable of defeating Melina without help from Matthew Rehwoldt. Purrazzo attacks Mickie, but Trey Miguel and Melina come to her aid. Melina takes out Purrazzo, sending her and Rehwoldt retreating up the ramp. What'd you think about this?
So I was really enjoying it up until the shenanigans towards the end. They let us know with this segment that we already know Deonna's going to win the match. We already know that, but right. I don't like when they forecast it. I think a lot of wrestling fans do too, is that they're trying to build towards a Deonna and Mickie match at Bound for Glory. That's what it seems like the direction they're trying to go in. So when you start teasing stuff like that, or the angle starts moving that direction, it's telling us, hey, the match we're promoting though, here's what the result's going to be. Deonna's going to win. Watch it because you like wrestling, but other than that, there's no real reason to care about it. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. I was enjoying the microphone portion though. Mm-hmm. Them on the mic talking back and forth and everything. I was digging that. And then it got physical. Trey Miguel comes down, and this just came out kind of forced to me. He throws Bray Wyatt out of the ring, and I understand he came down because they got to clear the dude out of the ring. Right. But then he runs and does a tope or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't even know the name of that move, but jumps over the
taquito.
Oh, okay. Taquito, making me hungry here. So he does that move. And I was just like, that was unnecessary. That's unnecessary flash for the sake of flash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Throw him out of the ring and then brawl with him and get him off the screen,
Right.
But then Melina comes down. And so Melina had this match with Brandy Lauren last week. That was pretty bad. It was one of the more clunky matches they've had on TV in a little while. And she was clunky when she came down here too. Her and Deanna were both like I think in heels or something like that. So they weren't moving real smooth around the ring.
Yeah.
And it looked bad. I don't think they've done the best job in the world to really hype up this match as something people want to see.
Yeah.
But I thought Deanna doing the package of working with the MMA and everything was probably the best piece of creative they've done for this program to make people have any interest. But it just seems like they're trying to go a direction with Mickey and Deanna. So now it makes you care about this match a little bit less. I am super excited to go to Empowerrr tomorrow night. I've really been looking forward to it all week, and they keep announcing new names, and I'm just super excited about it. And then I'm going to the meet and greet Sunday, which is the female meet and greet. So
nice.
I chose that over the male one because even though the male has some guys I have interest in, there's the majority of them I don't have any interest in.
Right.
The male side of the NWA roster is it's rough. It's a little rough, dude. They're trying to find the next like Ricky Starks. They're trying to find this and this, and it's a little rough at the moment. But the women that are showing up at the show I have a lot of interest in seeing. So
what women are expected to be there?
So I'm a 90 Day Fiance fan. That's one of the shows I watch with my old lady. There's a girl, Paola Mayfield, who was from several seasons ago. Very, very sexy lady. Just looks great, has a great look. She started wrestling. She wrestles independently in Florida, and they actually got her coming out. So I'm really excited for that because as a fan of wrestling and of 90 Day Fiance, I'm super excited to see her. But
this is my Graceland.
yeah, dude. It's just worlds collide, man. Everything coming together. I think Diamante's gonna be there. Kiera Hogan's gonna be there. Taryn Terrell, who's my favorite female wrestler of all time.
Oh my god.
I'm liking NWA's actually putting a pretty good women's division together. Sky Blue, Genocide, a couple girls like that are really excellent. They got a couple like what the hell's his name? Jim Cornette says they got some outlaw mudslinger chicks showing up too. Some that I'm not familiar with at all, but damn, I'm trying to think who else the Hex will be there, which is Marty Bell and Allison Kay. I'm excited about that.
Hot Girl Twitch. Shout out to Hot Girl
man.
Twitch.
Yeah, so Allison's someone I'm very, very cool with. So I enjoy any opportunity I get to interact with her. And it's a good cast of characters. So but they're doing a good job of at least dedicating a portion of the show to promote power or empower, as you say, but the actual physicality is just not making me super excited.
I think with that NWA in general, right? Like you're into it more for the novelty, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're here because you like wrestling and you want to see some wrestling. And like, I don't think anybody thinks that Melina is taking the title from Deonna Purrazzo, right? But it should be good. It should be fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, I think the draw here is Deonna Purrazzo, right? Like the same way like Kenny Omega, coming in to Impact, the draw is Kenny Omega. So the draw here is Deonna Purrazzo. I think Melina, still got it. Still got it. Okay? Like, I mean, like a lot of her assets that she brought to the table back when she was on big national television have only gotten better. Okay. So hashtag thick Melina. I'm here for it. And so the wrestling match will be what it is. But no, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be good. If they want to get Matthew Raywald and Trey Miguel involved, I think that'll only make it better. And by the way, I tweeted out the other day from I think it's my Talking About Pod Twitter account that Matthew Raywald is like low key the perfect hype man for Deonna Purrazzo. I am really starting to hate those two as a combination. And like And that's great though. Again, don't get me started on this. I'm supposed to hate you. That's what they're doing. They're being bad guys. They're being mean and underhanded, and they're cheating. I'm supposed to hate you.
That didn't stop the Virtuosa chance.
Yes. They're doing so. I think they're doing a great job because I'm really starting to hate them. And I think they I think they bring good stuff to the table. You know what I mean? She's a dope technician in the ring. Like, he's a really good talker. You know what I mean? He's a really good, mic guy. And I think that's the act together, to me, it goes really well.
It works.
Man. I would keep those together. I think they work well together.
Kylie Ray will be at the show if she actually shows up.
Who will be there?
Kylie Ray, if she shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this? I got sidetracked when you mentioned Allison Kay and Marty Bell were going to be there. I feel like they should send me a video, just say, hey, you're a
booty. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You said that, not me. Okay, you said that, not me.
They know it. They know it.
I just admire her witty tweets.
Yeah, hilarious.
Okay, that's it. All right. Brian Myers presents How to Be a Professional, Chapter 31. Great customization. Myers teaches Sam Bill how to cut the sleeves off a t-shirt, and Bill accuses Myers of denying his loss to Impact World Champion Christian Cage at Emergence. Myers ignores him and announces an open casting call to find more people like Bill who he can share his wealth of information with. What'd you think about this?
Actually, I thought it was funny. He's showing him how to cut up a shirt, and he's like, why can't I just buy one without sleeves? Right. And then he had him wear he cut the sleeve off and had him put it on his head like a headband. It was so ridiculous. But I'm here for the Brian Myers giving him advice type of thing and him jotting down nonsense. And this is setting the groundwork for, I guess, Zicky Dice is supposed to be a part of this stable, and the guy they're adding as well. That I'm someone I'm not familiar with, but I was kind of reading they're supposed to be a fourth person.
I'm not looking forward to the Zicky Dice thing. Not gonna lie.
No, all right. I'm.
Chris Bay versus David Finlay. After Juice Robinson was laid out in a blindside attack last week, David Finlay continues his rivalry with the Bullet Club's newest member, Chris Bay, here tonight. Finlay takes control in the early going with a series of hard strikes. Bay launches Finlay into the ropes, then hits a back elbow drop to turn the tide. Bay begins to wear Finlay down as he secures a headlock. Bay taunts the crowd, giving Finlay an opportunity to recover and connect with a springboard crossbody. Finlay hits a back suplex on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Finlay continues to target the back as he connects with a huge backbreaker for two. Bay rolls up Finlay with his feet on the ropes for leverage to steal the victory. David Finlay gets finessed Chris Bay for the win. What'd you think about this?
I'm not a big Finjuice guy. I'm just not. So I kind of didn't care about the match at first, but not to take anything away from what was a good match. And it was a good way for Chris Bay, but I mean, of course, a good win for him, I should say. But with the exception of the opening match, that's the only finisher we saw. Like, this was the episode of roll-ups and BS finishes, surprise finishes, cheating, all that kind of crap, which I seem kind of lazy. Like, I mean, I see as being lazy, but I would have just rather Chris Bay get the win. I say this a lot. Impact's afraid to have people lose. So that's why we get the roll-ups, we get the distraction finishes, we get they're just afraid. They're afraid for people to just lose. Like, you can bounce back the next week and win a match. It doesn't have to be I'm not talking about 50-50 booking versus the same opponent, but I mean, like, people can get on hot streaks, you know what I mean? But they're just afraid to for someone to win. Like, dude, he could have just taken the clean loss and then have him win a couple weeks in a row and get hot and reignite that feud. But I just didn't like the way it ended. But it's a good win for him, for Chris Bay, and he should be continue to be showcased. And that's when they kind of dropped that the shirt was the number one selling shirt. So that's really good news, because we talk about how good it is for Chris Bay to be involved with the Bullet Club. They're very popular.
Right.
It's the best thing for his, his career and everything. So he deserves everything he has coming to him. I just would have liked to see more of a clean win here.
Yeah. But see, I'm actually a little bit of the opposite. I feel like in general, I like when the heel gets a dirty win. Like, by comparison, I look at like what Roman Reigns is doing in WWE right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's beating everybody clean. Like all the heroes, he's beating them straight up clean, taking their best shot and winning with a straight up dominant win, a choke out, a spear, something like that. And I'm watching this thinking to myself, like, how dominant is too dominant? Like at WrestleMania, he literally stacked up Daniel Bryan and Edge and pinned them, for the win. And I'm like, yo, again, how dominant is too dominant? I think that with because I feel like when a heel cheats to win, you don't rip all the hope out of the babyface.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because the basic idea here is like the babyface is strong and fights hard and plays fair, but the heel is underhanded and will cheat to win. They have to cheat to win because they're not as good and strong as the babyface, right? And so I like the idea of babyfaces using underhanded tactics to win because it reinforces that, hey, I'm a bad guy. You should boo me. You should, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I do something, you should be looking for me to cheat. So I'm cool with bad guys cheating to win. I think that just like, again, it reinforces the character. It gives me as a fan a little more to be invested in terms of like, the establishing who the character is.
Yeah, you make a really good point there because, if you have a heel and they win clean too much, you end up with a Deonna Purrazzo scenario, who is one of the best parts of the show, and she comes out to Virtuosa, and then you see it all the time at AEW. I think AEW is a little more babyface friendly. Those guys always seem to get over on the heels, but there are heels that win very clean a lot of the time, and then they come down and they get cheered, and sometimes. So I see what you're saying. The screw finish should be part of wrestling.
Yeah,
I just think Impact relies on it a little bit too much personally.
Yeah.
But we don't want a scenario where Chris Bay is coming out and he's a heel, right? The Bullet Club, is this a heel faction?
Yeah, he's a heel. Like, but the nature of his character is heel, right? He's the ultimate finesser. Like, to get finessed is like when somebody takes advantage of you. You know what I mean? So he's a trickster, like, so that's his character is heel by nature. It's so funny like that you just brought that up, like, because I remember one of the big Adam Cole matches, right, was they did Takeover in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I remember I had tickets to that show, but I had to sell my tickets the last minute because I couldn't find a babysitter. But he beat Johnny Gargano in the main event clean, and the place gave him a hero's reception. And I'm like, yo, how is this guy a heel? You know what I mean? I'm like, he just fought hard and won the match clean, and he's being cheered like a hero. How is this guy a heel? And it just, again, it reemphasizes to me the disconnect between storytelling and wrestling fans. So, yes, heels, I'm a fan of cheating.
Fair enough.
All right. So Rich Swann and Willie Mack send a message to Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, before their non-title collision in tonight's main event. Then X Division champion Josh Alexander reflects on his victory over Jake Something at Emergence, a match that had the wrestling world buzzing. That's a motherfucking lie. Gia Miller asked him who he has in mind for his next challenger, and Alexander announces an open challenge where any former X Division champion can challenge him for the title next Thursday on Impact. Oh boy. Did you have any thoughts about this?
It's probably suicide. No. I believe this is supposed to be a big deal, whoever shows up. I'm not going to bullshit you. This was 3 straight segments in a row of We Own the Night. So I completely muted.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I muted the whole thing. At first, when I saw Rich Swann and Willie Mack, I'm like, okay, I want to hear what Rich Swann has to say. I listened for about 10 seconds, and I could tell Rich Swann's tone was a little more serious, and I was digging it. I was enjoying that side of Swann, but I had to put it on mute. 10 seconds was all I could take of the song, and then They go to Josh Alexander. I turn it back on. The song is still playing. I'm like, okay. And then whatever was after this, the song was still playing. And I was just like, oh my God. So
Nice.
I didn't hear the actual interview with Josh Alexander. So I didn't know what was said. Just like at the top of the show, actually, when Taylor Wilde was being interviewed by her, again, I had it on mute the minute I heard the song. So we'll kind of get into why that's relevant here in a sec.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about the stipulation.
Real quick before we move on in the show here, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. I want to see these likes go way up. I want the number of likes to match the number of views. Okay, that's what I want. If you watch this video, like it. Okay, like it. Unless you don't like it, in that case, give it a thumbs down.
And there we go. Screw it.
Yeah. Okay. But either way, I want those interactions up. All right. So we had the Impact World Champion Christian Cage in the Impact Zone. Christian Cage is in the ring to address not only his victory over Brian Myers at Emergence, but also his next Impact World title defense against the new number one contender, Ace Austin, at Victory Road. Tommy Dreamer comes out and praises Christian Cage for his incredible success since returning to pro wrestling. Dreamer makes a point of thanking him for representing Impact Wrestling like a true champion should. Dreamer says that while he hasn't earned it yet, he would like to face Christian Cage one last time. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton interrupt as Ace claims that he will become the youngest Impact World Champion in history at Victory Road. Ace throws a punch and a huge brawl breaks out. Christian Cage and Dreamer clear the ring, sending Ace and Fulton retreating. What'd you think about this?
Bro. Hashtag push Dreamer. You know, at first when Christian was talking, we've talked about this before. Like he's got a baby face style and a mic that is just, I don't know if I want to say it's unmatched, but he's just great on the mic. You know, like he knows how to be a strong baby face without being like super white meat, and everything is convincing. It's original. He's awesome. He's great, and the interaction with Ace Austin was good too. So I was digging that, man. But I mean, Tommy Dreamer comes out. I mean, the music hits. Here comes Dreamer, and I mean, he sucked the life out of this segment. That I mean, just completely sucked the life out of it. He started talking about, I want a world title shot. I'm just like, oh my God, dude. So I and people can correct me if I'm wrong here. If Tommy Dreamer wrestles for the world title again, him and Moose will be the only people on the entire roster with multiple title shots in 2021.
Wow.
Tommy Dreamer? I mean, seriously? Like, I mean, come on, dude. So he just sucked the life out of it. I'm watching it. I'm listening to it. I was just like, I can't believe they're going back to the Dreamer well. I mean, I'm flabbergasted, dude. Every time they do it, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is it. This has to be the last one.
Right.
And it just continues and continues. Like, okay, so is he on the board or a representative of the board, or is he a wrestler? Like, we've talked about this before. Like, you can't do both. You can. I'm here. I don't think he's actually on the board, but I think they say he represents. But so, but yeah, he fires Don Callis. I mean, and now he wants a world title match, dude. Like, I'm just like, enough, man. He's gonna get the title shot. So at first, when this is going on, I'm thinking to myself, okay, down the road, he's gonna get a title shot. Whatever they say, he has to earn it. Really, he'll get a couple matches here and there to build it up. But they're clearly gonna give us this match as soon as possible. So we're really running the chance of Ace Austin versus Christian Cage being ruined because they feel we want to see Tommy Dreamer, and I think that's really far from the truth. I think the finger is like so far off the pulse with this. It's insane. So we had a segment. I liked where it was going, and then I was just like, man, enough. Like I know I've complained about the Tommy Dreamer involvement on TV on seemingly every episode of this podcast, and for years, but every time they just never cease to amaze me. Every time I'm like, okay, they cannot possibly give us another Tommy Dreamer main event. Yeah, we get a Tommy Dreamer main event.
I mean, like it's filler. It's filler. It is what it is. I watch or I won't. I don't think it's to me, it's like Melina versus Deonna Purrazzo. Like, it's just there. You know what I mean? It's just there. I don't expect anything consequential to come of it. You know, it's just Tommy Dreamer, you know, he's somebody that's been in the wrestling business in so many different capacities for such a long time. He probably has a great and long-standing relationship with Christian, and they probably for a long time been like, hey man, I'd like to work together at some point. And they're like, hey, why not do it on TV or whatever? So, but whatever. What are you gonna do? You know?
I mean, this is my thing. If Ace Austin won the number one contender match, he wrestled a multi-person match, he deserves to wrestle one-on-one for the championship. I said the same thing when Eddie Edwards won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Like, he deserved a one-on-one match for the title, not I won this Call Your Shot thing, so I got, you know, I secured my spot in this 5-way match. Right. That doesn't make any freaking sense. So, you know, I'm sure we're going to get to the segment, but I mean, it just ties into this. You know, Scott D'Amore is like, oh, next week you're going to wrestle Tommy Dreamer. If he beats you, it's going to be a triple threat. Like, there's probably an 80% chance it's going to be a triple threat. You know, maybe there's the opportunity. Maybe Ace Austin wins this thing, but if Ace Austin loses, then he's taking a loss before a world title match, and it's all super
right.
stupid.
And so what they're probably doing is they're probably just trying to find ways to let the Impact guys work with the AEW guys, but give the Impact guys excuses for losing. And again, like you said, don't be afraid. Just let somebody lose. Let somebody lose and then let them work their way back up. And bad guys can lose. Like, I don't know why people think bad guys need to be kept strong. Bad guys don't have to be kept strong. Their job is to antagonize the protagonist, right? So whoever's your hero, Ace Austin just has to be able to put him in danger. That's it. That's all he's got to be able to do. Ace Austin doesn't have to be an undefeated champ. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to be. Like, and by the way, how much have they cooled him off? Think about where he was a year and a half ago. Is that he looked like he was training to be like, you know, the youngest world champion potentially or something like that. And they've just had him lost in the sauce, man. And I don't know that it's any of his fault. I think it's just they got a bunch of shiny new toys in, and he's just been thrown on the back burner. But he's still done a great job with everything they've given him. But they just haven't given him anything great to do, you know?
Yeah, he had that first X Division title run, which was really good. It was the Triple X Division, and they did the angle with Trey's mom, and they did some really interesting stuff with them. And then they randomly took the title off him for Willie Mack, who I like Willie Mack, but he's probably the driest wrestler on the roster, the least charismatic, you know. And in front of nobody, they have Willie Mack beat him for the title. This was like Rebellion, or back when it was like a TV special or something. In front of nobody, beats him, and I thought that cooled him off big time. I thought it was a super unnecessary title change.
Totally agree.
And you know, he got the second title run, and it ended pretty quickly. You know, and they did the Super X Cup, and they've done some things where they're kind of like, hey, we just reminding you, we think a lot. You know, we feel highly about this guy. We think a lot of him, but yeah, he gets cooled off, and
like, what are you waiting for? Like, make him a player.
Yeah.
You know? All right. Eric Young blames Rhino for failing to recapture the Impact World Tag Team titles at Emergence. As a result, Violent by Design must now cleanse him in the holy waters of change. Interesting. Ace Austin demands a match with Tommy Dreamer from Impact Executive Vice President Scott D'Amore. The match is made, but if Ace loses, Tommy Dreamer will be added to the Impact World title match for Victory Road. Woo! All right.
Oh, man.
You mentioned that. That's like, yeah, okay. So we had Taylor Wilde versus the Influencers. That's Madison Rayne, Tenille Dashwood, and Caleb with the K. Okay. After Tenille Dashwood and Caleb with the K cost Taylor Wilde her match against Madison Rayne at Emergence, Wilde looks to overcome the odds and take out all three of them. Wilde soars through the air with the top rope crossbody, colliding with the Influence on the ramp. Wilde almost puts Caleb away with a Hurricane Rana, but gets blindsided by Rayne and Dashwood. Wilde does everything in her power to score the victory, but ultimately falls victim to the numbers game as Dashwood hits her with the spotlight kick for 3. The Influence defeat Taylor Wilde. After the match, the Influence continue their beatdown on Taylor Wilde when Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering even the odds.
All right, so I said I was going to say why my comment was relevant from earlier when I hit mute once the song started playing. This match happens. I'm like, why are we watching a 3-on-1 handicap match? I had absolutely no clue why this match was happening, and I had to ask Mike when I was doing the Brace for Impact podcast, and he said, "Oh well, Taylor said at the top of the show, well, it's already been 3-on-1, so I might as well just wrestle them by myself." So I'm like, okay, because I muted it, so I had no clue that that's how they set it up. And I guess that was another match where a finisher was used. But, poor Caleb with a K is such a good wrestler and doesn't really ever get a chance to show it. It's always comedy with him.
Yeah.
This match would have been a little more serious if it was a 2-on-1, but because they involved him in it, it turned into a little bit of a comedy match. I've read I won't say the spoilers because I don't read spoilers, but I've seen the headlines that another returning knockout was expected to show up. And I was thinking, okay, when they were catching this beat down, I was like, someone's gonna make a return here. And I guess it'll happen at the next set of tapings, though, because this is still the old set of tapings, so I get it. But
have you heard through the grapevine who it might be? You don't have to tell everybody. Just
I haven't heard. I have no idea. I know the speculation of who it could be.
Okay, well, let's speculate. Who is it speculating?
So I think some people are speculating that it's Santana Garrett.
Okay.
Because it says a former knockout. I don't know if they said former knockouts champion. I don't think she was ever a champion. I don't think she really wrestled. I think she only had a couple matches.
Yeah, I mean, they put her in some interesting thing where she was partnered up with a guy. And they were doing something where they were like making out. I remember one time she got her lip busted on camera. But she always was somebody, she can wrestle. Again, you got to give characters stuff they can sink their teeth into. Give the fans something we can sink our teeth into about the characters, or don't expect us to care, So that's that.
Yeah, so she is someone, she needs some kind of character. I think she's like physically flawless, this woman, like looking at her. And she's a great wrestler, but I think she would need some kind of gimmick or something. Not a gimmick, but some kind of personality. But that's just kind of like fan speculation.
Babyface. Like few people are like straight up babyface, and I think sometimes in wrestling we don't appreciate the straight up babyface. Like Allie was such a good straight up babyface, and they just never were able to really get that going the way it should have.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
So she might be one of those, and if she is, then let her be that. You know what I mean? Some people are just good at something that they're naturally cast in a certain way, and you should use them in those ways. And I think she might just be a natural babyface. So don't try to make her anything crazy. Like just, let her do her thing.
But I do want to say though, that was not a spoiler, folks. Like that has come from no kind of source, not from someone at the tapings, nothing like that. Strictly fan speculation of people who honest to God don't know. That's the only like past knockout they could think is the possibility. It could be freaking ODB for all we know. I honest to God have no idea who it is. That's just
ODB now.
Yeah, that's who I hope it is though, because I'm a fan of Santana. So I guess we'll see. But I was expecting to see someone like that run down, and when it was just Jordan and Rachel, I'm like, okay, here comes the 6-man match for next week. Like I already knew where that was going. It seemed like there was a lot of interference and things like that this episode. So,
all right. So Su Yung and Kimberly continue to search for souls as they target their next victim, Brandi Lauren. After TJP answered Steve Macklin's open challenge earlier tonight, Petey Williams came to his aid when he was on the receiving end of a beatdown. During a backstage interview with Gia Miller, TJP tells Petey Williams that he doesn't need his help. Both of them agree to stay out of each other's business. That's not going to go well. No. Chelsea Green lays out a challenge for next week. Her and Matt Cardona versus Rohit Raju and Shira. What? That should be interesting.
That's two intergender matches next week.
For you. And you tell me if anything really stands out. Tasha Steelz is furious with Falaba for costing them an opportunity at Decay's Knockouts Tag Team titles. Fala claims that he will make it up to her when he in no way take out Black Taurus and Crazy Steve next week. All right, what you got here?
All right, so we might have to rewind here a little bit. What was the first? Oh, I do want to go back to the
they decide they're gonna do something strange with Brandi Lauren.
Yeah, I want to rewind a little bit to the Violent by Design stuff. I would imagine they're going to shave Rhino's head and completely, because right now he's just still ECW Rhino, So I would imagine they're going to completely give him a makeover, which Violent by Design is, stale by design at this point.
Yeah.
So this would be kind of cool actually if they did something with him. I got really excited about the Brandy Loren thing because I want to see her stick around with Impact. I truly do. And if they're bringing her backstage and she's going to be part of this little thing with Sue, like I'm here for it. Like, because I wanted them to do that with Kimberly, but then when she came out and she had the get up and all that, I was like, I don't know if I like this as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
But if they add a third person and, kind of make a stable out of it, I'll be here for it. I would, especially her, because I'm a big fan of her. So
if you follow Brandy Loren on Instagram, it's worth your time.
Yeah, that it is. Yes. And then the Cardona Chelsea thing, I thought they had a really good interaction backstage. They have clearly they're in a relationship, but they have good chemistry when they talk and everything. So it's another intergender match. There's 2 intergender matches next week. So they're definitely bringing intergender wrestling, that whole thing back again. That, they did the tag team tournament and now they're, we had intergender match this week because Caleb was wrestling, in this match. Yeah. So they're clearly going that direction again with it, but they're not, it doesn't have the emphasis on it that it did when Tessa Blanchard was around. So it kind of blends into the show a little bit. So, I don't know if I really care about seeing that match next week, but
that part,
we'll see. I like Rohit. I like Chelsea, and I've liked Cardona. I know you don't, but so we'll see. We'll see how it is.
Speaking of liking Cardona, I saw the stuff he's been doing as GCW, and he's really kind of playing up on like an "I'm too good for this place" type of thing, and I think it's great. I think that's great heel work. It plays off of people's perception of him, and and I think it's actually really good stuff. And because it's tough for him to shake the Zack Ryder thing, and I think doing more stuff like that, like what he just did, keep doing that. Like that's the character he should probably be in Impact. I'm too good for this place. I'm here to class up the joint, whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's a good character for him. All right. All new Impact next week. Influence batter Taylor Wilde. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's see. All right. We have the Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers versus Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Rich Swann and Willie Mack look to earn another Impact World Tag Team title opportunity in tonight's main event against the reigning champs. Rich and Willie deliver in-sync offense with a splash moonsault combo. Gallows brings to a halt their momentum by pummeling Rich with strikes in the corner. Anderson hits a strong Irish whip, but Willie Mack comes back with a pop-up forearm. Rich is firing on all cylinders, taking Gallows off his feet with a spin kick, followed by a running splash on Anderson. Moments later, Anderson hits him with the spine buster for 2. Rich counters with the gun stun into a roll-up to score the victory. Rich Swann and Willie Mack defeat the Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers. As the reality sets in that Rich Swann and Willie Mack could be the next in line for a shot at the tag team titles, Doc Gallows attacks Rich from behind. The Good Brothers send a message to the entire wrestling world as they send Swann headfirst into a steel chair, followed by a magic killer to Willie. The Good Brothers make one final statement, powerbombing Willie through the table on the floor. As Impact goes off the air, what'd you think about this?
So good match, fun match. Rich Swann looked excellent in this, and he reminded us, hey, I used to be the world champion around here. So it was good to see him get a win over the Good Brothers. A team that he's been on that whole stable in a way. He's been on the receiving end of losses, a couple times. So it was good to see him get that win. This is 2 weeks in a row that the Good Brothers lose because Doc Gallows lost last week to Joe Doring, so kind of weird, little bit of a losing streak for them. But this was all set up, I'm sure, Victory Road, that there's going to be a tag team title match that Swann and Mack are not going to win, and then I would imagine if it Bound for Glory, they're trying to do maybe the Gorillas of Destiny or something. I think they have something big planned for the Good Brothers. I don't think it's going to be the Good Brothers versus an Impact tag team. I
No.
don't. I think this is just all building,
I've been
finding a
seeing a lot
reason.
of Tama Tonga stuff going on online, and I saw
Mhm.
Scott D'Amore insert himself into one of those conversations saying they should do that in an Impact Wrestling ring. So they'll probably figure out a way to make that happen.
Yeah, I think that's
again,
really
sorry to cut you off again, but if you're planning on doing stuff like this, come on, man, just take a shot. Book a bigger building, get the matches signed, book the bigger building, and try to sell it out. And if you don't sell it out, you can always just, whatever, put all the fans on one side and shoot it that way. Lord knows I've done it before. Take the shot, try it.
Yeah, the rumor is Samstown Casino is where Bound for Glory is going to be.
I mean, is there like a bigger ballroom other than the one they've been at?
I don't think so.
Because the one they've been in is basically just felt like a high school gym.
Like like a garage. Absolutely.
That's something that I'm curious about. I mean, listen, if they thought they could sell out a bigger arena, they would, if they thought they could. But I feel like you got to just take the shot, man. Like, how do you know? Like, how do you know if you can? Like I said, man, you gotta give people. You gotta say, hey, look, I'm gonna try to do a 5,000 seat arena, so I need to go above and beyond to make sure I got something that 5,000 people want to come out of their pockets and pay money to come see. So you got to work on putting this stuff together. It's all a cycle. You know what I mean? Like, if you're working to put together a show, an environment, and an atmosphere that's going to make people want to come out of their house, then like I said, take the shot, man. I think it'd be great for the Impact fans if they did that.
And that's where it comes down to good promotion and good marketing, because the NWA shows, when I was looking at the seating chart when I was buying my tickets for Empowerrr, like it's a pretty good size. They got quite a bit of seats set up, much more than a normal NWA show, like a lot more. And they've done a really good job of marketing that show and the anniversary show as well. And then if you think of All In, when they first did that, and they say, hey, we're gonna get this 10,000 seat arena, people are like, you're absolutely crazy. Only WWE can fill an arena like that. But that's where marketing comes into play, where they would announce wrestlers by one and say, hey, they're All In, and people were like, who's next to be All In, and that strategy like really worked for them, and they still use it now. As so and so is All Elite, so when you see someone as All Elite, you just automatically get 10 times more excited than if it just said AEW is signing so and so. Like that's marketing. So you can't do like Dixie Carter when she booked a couple arenas in New York that one time prior to Bound for Glory 2015 or whatever it was, and there was like 200 people in this large arena, and the pictures circulated around the internet, and everyone was clowning the company, because there's a difference between booking a big arena and then assuming people are going to show up, than booking something bigger and then coming up with a marketing strategy that's going to get people in those seats. You know what I mean? So and by the way, there are a challenge, but whose
job it is to like sell out events. Like if I think about this all the time. I live in Connecticut, and there's a small arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where I mentioned earlier they had a Takeover 25. And I was like, man, I'd like to see if Impact could do this arena. And if I was gonna book that arena, if I was gonna do that, the first thing I would do is call the guy who books Northeast Wrestling. There's a guy who has a promotion, Northeast Wrestling, and he books shows up and down the East Coast, all around the Northeast, all the time, and he gets great crowds. And I'm like, so let me reach out to this guy. Like, you clearly know how to book an event and how to promote an event, how to sell an event, and let me get with this dude and figure out how we're going to get these tickets sold out, right? Like, there are people like Eric Bischoff talks all the time about one of the ways he was able to start getting the venues up for WCW was he found a guy who was a very well-known concert promoter, and he hired him to help him, start promoting WCW events. Like, spend the money. Again, if you want to compete, you got to spend the money. And I think they can. I just, I think that they have this idea of running Impact on a shoestring budget until they can, like make it profitable and then take a big swing.
That's
but
how
I
it
feel
feels.
like, man, take the swing, man. Take the swing. Like the time is now. Like WWE is releasing talents left and right. So there's talents available who have national exposure. And again, figure out a way to just, like I said, market and promote your product in a way you can listen. With the right marketing and promotion, Impact can do a 5,000 seat arena. They can. For Bound for Glory, which is 2 months away right now, you got to get some hot stuff, but you can do it. You can do it. So, whatever. All right. It is time for the part of the show where you all get to be a part of the show. This is from the comment section. And this is where we take a look at your comments that you drop. If you want to be a part of this part of the show, then just drop your comments right here below this video on the YouTube page. And by the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button on this video. Hit the like it. Thumbs up. All right. All right. So Brando Scandria says, Lynn Asper tweeted that Impact has a, quote, big new distribution deal coming soon. Do you think this will be a new TV deal? I hope so.
I think if it has anything to do with television, I think it maybe might be a UK deal, which it's in their best interest to figure that out soon, because I believe that was their second most profitable TV deal behind India. So that's something they have to get on the ball with. But I'm not holding my breath on this because, call it the Dixie Carter effect or whatever. But when they say, okay, we have this distribution deal and, news is coming, I'm not holding my breath, because they very well could be like, yo, we just got this TV deal in South Africa, because they've released a lot of press releases over the years that are real minuscule news. We want to see the company grow and run in more countries and more streaming platforms. But I mean, there's times that they've been like, oh, Impact's library is going to be on this platform no one's ever heard of. And it's just like, okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be a different TV deal for the Impact product. I don't see that. I don't see them leaving Access TV anytime soon. I don't think
leave Access TV. But what I hope it is, here's what I hope it is. I hope that they got to deal with Comcast, because I have Comcast Xfinity cable, as do millions. They're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, cable provider in the country, and Access TV is not on Comcast Xfinity cable. And so if they can get on Comcast Xfinity cable, that will give them access to tens of millions of more homes. And so I think that'll be huge for the Impact product. Again, they still got to do the work of, getting people to want to watch their show. But listen, if you could, I think getting on Comcast would be probably one of the biggest moves they could make. Find a way to get to get Access TV into the cable packages. If you could get it into their basic cable package, that'd be amazing. But even if it's a more like, I would probably, there's a chance I would up my cable package, up my tier, because I I have like a very basic tier because I pay for like streaming services. Plus, I just don't watch as much TV as I used to. And I just added the sports package for football season, and then I'm going to take it off after football season. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I'll add $10 a month so I can see all the college football games I want for the next 6 months or whatever. Right. But like, if there was like the one tier up and like Access TV was in that package, I'd be willing to add it. I cut off the Impact Plus. I've been meaning, that reminds me, I need to cancel the Impact YouTube thing. Like, just, I'm not seeing the value in it.
So I watched it on YouTube this week. I actually watched the show live because I had to do the Brace for Impact podcast. So I watched it live. It's not a good viewing experience. It's very choppy. It skips around. I don't say skips around like goes back and forth, but you'll be watching a match and then it skips forward about 15 seconds.
I thought that was just me. I was like, am I behind? I was like, this is trash. I'm turning it off.
That's what I thought it was just me. But then I looked at the comments and I saw several people saying that they were dealing with the same thing. So it wasn't a good experience. I used to watch it on Sling TV. I used to order, I canceled Sling TV because we carry YouTube TV now. And I only had Sling TV for access, and YouTube TV just had other channels we preferred. So I used to watch on Sling TV. Now we have Philo, which is another streaming service, and it's a cheaper service, $20 a month. We subscribe to that on top of YouTube TV because of some channels that we don't get. And that particular one actually has Access TV on it. So normally when I do get the opportunity to watch it live, I watch through Philo. It's just my fiance was using the TV, so I had to watch on my phone. And it wasn't a good experience. It wasn't I'm pretty close to saying, I granted it's $1 or $2 a month, whatever it is, but I'm pretty close to being like, this sucks. So I don't know. I'll probably give it a little bit more time, but
yeah. I totally agree. And I think that that's on Impact, man. I gotta do a better job putting together a better product. I think that I mean, like you can't just expect people to just support your product no matter what. I think you got to find a way to give us something that is worth our time and worth our money. Like we don't owe you to support your product, like straight like that. It's on you you need to earn my money. So that's that. But anyway, in terms of what Brando Scandra was saying, what I hope the new TV distribution deal is I hope they got on Comcast or something with more service providers so that I can actually see their product. All right. Let's see. Big Jet Sexy says Impact Wrestling just signed Buddy Murphy. We talked about this a little bit, but thoughts on that?
If it in fact is set in stone, I think he runs the biggest chance of them being, we talk about finding the next AJ Styles, but I think right now they just have to find their next EC3. They have to find that dude that just he was a bigger deal than EC3 was in WWE when you're talking about the Derek Bateman thing, obviously, but someone who can actually come over and legitimately step into that main event spot and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, someone's from WWE, so he's in the main event spot. Like, I think he has that ability to just step in and slide into the main event spot, and people would be like, that's awesome. That's awesome. He's getting that opportunity. If you were to put Matt Cardona in the main event, you'd be like, oh my God, you're just because he was in WWE, he's getting a world title shot. Like, that's how it would come off. But this guy has the opportunity to be the closest thing to, kind of being that next EC3, I think. So I don't want to see him in the X division or anything like that. Yeah, I want to see him take on Josh Alexander and all that. But I would prefer, I would prefer to see him in the main event picture. So if they're able to get him, he won't be a needle mover, but he'll be a piece. He'll be a piece to getting to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Impact, I get this guy and I don't slide him right into the main event. I slide him. I start him at the bottom of the card. And he's an excellent performer. We've seen him perform. And I'd let him, again, boom, have great matches at the top of the card, have great matches in the middle of the card, then work your way down the card, until you're working in the main event. And then when he gets to the main event, I'd have him lose to all my big people. I'd have him lose to Josh Alexander. I'd have him lose to Moose. I'd have him lose to whoever's like at the top, because I think one thing Impact has to do is they have to establish that Impact guys are dominant in Impact. And I think that you get a guy like Murphy and again, shine him up, right? Heat him up, let him have a great run. But in the big match, the Impact guy needs to go over, right? Like Samoa Joe should have went over Kurt Angle 10 times, straight up. And, whatever, maybe they could have told a story where Samoa Joe is like the one mountain Kurt Angle can't conquer. And then you let Kurt Angle beat him. But I think Kurt Angle beat him the first time they got out there. And I think that was just like, you don't do that, because then you establish that Kurt Angle coming over from WWE is the bigger deal. But instead, you let the Impact guy win you promote the big match. We got Buddy Murphy. Then they have this amazing showcase main event match, and Josh Alexander wins. And you got all these eyes to watch your Impact guy win. I
Mhm.
think that's the right way to use a guy like Buddy Murphy.
Anyone who wins a Alexa Bliss sweepstakes should be in the main event. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
By default, but I like your idea too.
All right. Let's see here. Michael Spikes just commented similar to something I just said. He says, I think Impact Wrestling needs to build up their own stars and roster and make Impact viewership ratings boost from week to week. Yes, I think they need to do that too.
I think we have to see a good balance, you know, like it just feels too often every time they get a shiny toy that's the one they want. I used this analogy months ago, but when I was young and used to play with wrestling toys, I used to play with toys in general. So I had the big WWF ring that back when they sold the big Hulk Hogan figures and everything, they're like 7-8 inches tall. Like the ring is huge. What's that?
The LJN figures.
Yeah, right. And the ring was huge.
Yeah.
So my brother and I, we would wrestle with every single figurine we had. It could be the Ninja Turtles, it could be G.I. Joe guys, whatever. Everyone was a wrestler that we had. But every time we got that new toy, we used to do like Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. The new toy would always win. Like it just it didn't matter. You know what I mean?
Like Impact.
Yeah, and that's what I get. Like there has to be a balance. It just seems like someone comes aboard and they get real hot, and then everyone else is oh well, they're signed with us long term, so we don't have to worry about pushing them. And that's, you see that with Sami Callihan, you see that with Moose. Like when have they got this like huge run at the top? They just have it, because Impact's like, oh well, they're not going anywhere, we have them signed for years, so we're just going to push the new toys instead. So it just has to be more of a balance.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Bland Skies 28, a consistent contributor. Thank you, Bland Skies 28, says Impact needs to go back to that 2018 darker tone and darker storylines and at least sign Buddy Murphy to the roster. Lots of Buddy Murphy love out here.
Yeah. 2018. What I feel like that was when Anthem came aboard.
Yeah, that was right. That was right after oh god, was that the Del Rio run? Oh.
No. I don't think so. I think that was 2017.
Oof.
I feel like Anthem's first year was one of the better years in the company for a while. That's when they were bringing like Joe
Austin
Hendry.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think Austin was right before that period I'm talking about, but they had the Joe Hendry show up, and they Winter returned, or whatever her name was when they brought her back. Like that particular period, I thought they were bringing in a lot of people who are very, very unique. I think Jordan Grace still, started showing up. It was just the free agents seemed just unique. I don't know, more so than now. But I wish I knew exactly what he's talking about, but I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2018 was fine. I think that like the thing about Impact is Impact doesn't do enough to make us appreciate the era that we're in, because we always look back on Impact 3 or 5 years later and go
back to that
5 years ago, Impact was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember when I first started this channel, when it was there on Pop TV, and I was like, oh, they should do this and this and this. I look back, dude, I absolutely love that Pop TV era. I can't believe that I ever complained about the Pope on commentary. Like, what the hell was I thinking,
Telling you.
But yeah, looking back at those times, I was like, dude, I had nothing to complain about. That was like a really fun time for me.
I was really excited about Impact when they signed Mike Bennett. I thought that was going to be huge.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be huge. The Mike Bennett and Maria, I really loved that act. They never used them properly, I thought. We just thinking about like they had a nucleus of like, Mike Bennett, EC3, Eli Drake. Then they had like Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. And they brought in MVP. Like, man, we just didn't appreciate it, man. We didn't appreciate it because that's wrestling fans. And you bring in MVP, it's the next WWE guy. You know what I mean? It's all the same chitter chatter and bullcrap. And like, yo, just appreciate the show you're getting. How about that? Why not? All right, we'll take a couple more here. All right, let's see here. Oh, okay, here we go. Computer Learning Channel
Computer
says,
Blue.
No offense, guys, but what's the deal with Impact fans acting like Impact never gets some relevancy? As I recall, Impact had a lot of buzz not so long ago. Slammiversary buzz, the debut of Good Brothers, Moose self-proclamation TNA title, Jay White and Kenny Omega debut, the beginning of Impact and AEW partnership by Don Callis showing up in AEW, and I was barely watching wrestling at those times because I was working so much. All right, what you got to say about this?
I think he trying to say, because he started off saying no offense. Was he trying to say they have a lot of big moments that we're kind of
I think this is
downplaying?
a reply to us, how we kind of started the show last week by saying, listen, we're not going to bullshit you. We know that you guys were really watching SummerSlam and CM Punk this week and not what happened on Impact. And I stand by that. Like, he's not wrong about that stuff that he said, but just like I said last week, a lot of that stuff, it happened in times when, we were in the pandemic era and AEW and WWE were just very blah. And there was an open window for Impact to appear to be on more even playing field. And since they've both gone back to touring, and then since AEW has been coming with the big surprises, WWE came, with the big stadium show. Nobody was talking about Impact last week. I'm sorry. Josh Alexander and Jake Something had an amazing match. That's like the third time I've mentioned it on this show. I love that match. And I'm sure anybody else who's watched it, we had a couple of comments who also saw and loved that match. That was a great match, but wasn't nobody talking about it because we had Becky Lynch coming and, squashing Bianca Belair. People were hot about that. Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Like, it just, Impact felt really small last week.
Right. And he's definitely not wrong. He pointed out some really good moments that had people talking and there was buzz. The only thing is they don't do a great job of capitalizing on the buzz. Like they have a real hot angle or something going on, and then it just like cools off until the next hot thing comes, to where they just got to find that way to just kind of keep the momentum going. Slammiversary last year was the biggest example of just the amount of buzz that was behind it, and then all of a sudden it just cooled down to ice about a month later. Right. And it sucked to see that, because it was like, man, there was just so much momentum and they just didn't know how to keep it going. Mm-hmm. They just said, okay, we're just going to get all these people show up, we're going to get these extra viewers, and then we're just going to continue doing what we do, and people are going to watch, right. So there have been a lot of really cool things that happen. It just, are they capitalizing on it from week to week?
All right, so we'll take one more here. Let's see. Okay, this is a weird question, but why not? Josh Mitch Morial says, I don't have time to listen to all this, so maybe the question was answered, but did you win the auction for Alicia's shirt? Also, Impact has now taken away the ability to watch the show for free on Impact Plus. It still may be a few weeks later, but from what I see, you still can't. The last one that is viewable for free is the Battle Royal. Oh my God. We're not here to troubleshoot your Impact Plus problems. I'm sorry, brother. So here's what I can tell you. Hold on, I think there's more here.
I'll make sure to reply to him and let him know I won the shirt. I feel like I talked about that at almost the top of the show last week, though. So I know we do long podcasts, but
so I feel Juiced Mitch Morial. There's ways that you can go if you don't have access to any of these. I think Impact Plus is free this month, by the way. And by the way, Impact Plus, I'm not sure if you live in America, if you live in the States, if you subscribe to Impact Plus, even if you don't pay for it, you can still watch the Impact show there every week. I think it goes live on the app at like 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So you can still access the show. Just download the app and you can watch it on the show. I'm not here shilling for Impact, but it's it has no commercials. And like I said, if you just wait until 10 o'clock, you can watch the show and whatever in all 90 minutes or whatever it is, and like and it's just fine. So I mean, just do that. I can't watch the show live either. I signed up for the YouTube thing, which is trash, and yeah, I'm just gonna go back to just watching it on the app. There's also websites, which I'm not going to promote here, but you can find wrestling. You can watch wrestling for free if you just search the right words. If you want to watch wrestling, if you just go into Google and type in something like, I don't know, watch wrestling, you can find websites where you can watch wrestling. So you can, there's ways you can find out stuff you want to find. But like I said, if you're an Impact fan and you live in the United States, download the Impact Plus app. And the like I said, the website, the episode is usually live at like 10 p.m. Like as soon as the show's over on live TV, it's up right there. So I would do that. It's free. And it's probably the best quality. You can watch it right on your phone. All right, man. Did you have any more Impact Wrestling stuff you wanted to hit on?
Nah, I'm just, as far as that YouTube insider thing, I'm interested to see what original content they say they're gonna have. They did the Sami Callihan one, which I haven't watched it yet. I'll probably check it out, but I need to see more than just that. So I'm gonna give it a couple months, and if they're just dropping this Sami Callihan thing every once in a blue moon, I'll probably be done with it too. I know it's cheap, but
I think it can't just be content for the sake of content. It's got to be content that I need to go out of my way and see.
Right, right.
We're all bombarded with so much information right now, and I think that in general, people's jobs are more demanding now than they have been, because I think a lot of companies are trying to get back on their feet after pandemics, and so they're squeezing employees more and more. And so I said that just to say that I think people are stressed out, and I think that when people decide to spend their time to listen to a podcast or to watch something or to read tweets, you got to give them something that's worth their time. People need it. People need it. And so for Impact, I think that like you can't just say, hey, we got this YouTube channel and there will be exclusive content. Show me the content. Like sell me the content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when WWE puts together a documentary, they promote it on every show they have. And then they're like, oh, okay, this thing is premiering on the WWE network after the pay-per-view. You know that. You know what I mean? Like Impact's just like, oh, we're going to have exclusive content, but it's up to you to check for it. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
And like, I just do better, man. Y'all can do better. Y'all can do better. Y'all can hire me as a producer. Okay. I've laid out plans for you right here on this show. And for one healthy sum, I can take care of all this.
There we go. Hell to the yeah, dude. I mean, I'm working 60 hours a week now,
right?
With post pandemic and everything, dude. Money's great, so it's all good. But I mean, I value my time at this point, and you can't just be like, hey, reach out and grab me, because I don't got that much time to just figure it out for myself.
Exactly. That's why I was so pissed my first week doing this Impact on YouTube thing. Like I really enjoyed the Twitch situation, but like the first week they were on YouTube, like you didn't tell us what time the show was going up. You didn't tell us what point of the show it would be at when you know what I mean? Like, so I just assume, okay, if this goes live at 8 or 8:15 or 8:30, then tell us that and start the show from where, or if you're not going to start the show from the beginning, then you need to tell us, hey, this show is going to pick up live so that you can live tweet along. And I think that's the basic idea. But like, it's weird, man. It's funky. Like sometimes I think it starts at 8:30. Sometimes I think it starts at 8:40. And then it picks up like midway through the broadcast. And it's not seamless. And I'm like, who wants to start watching a show 40 minutes in? Who? Why? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why you don't understand this, Impact. You know what I mean? Like, is it my job as the consumer? You know what I mean? It feels like you're just doing a money grab. Okay. Like you got out of Twitch and you killed the Twitch stream. of not just Twitch stream, but you killed airing episodes on Impact, which was, you know, getting your thing out there to people. And, you know, you put it on YouTube, but the YouTube experience is very clunky. Matter of fact, anybody out here, yeah, I got like some hair in my mouth or something.
Ew.
Yeah. The hell is that? It's like my mustache hair. I'm not sure what it was. Something just got on my tongue. Very weird. When you talk a lot, sometimes a bug flies in. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
It's gross.
So anybody watching this, are you guys subscribers to the Impact YouTube, like VIP, whatever it is? And if so, tell us what your experience has been with the YouTube, with the Impact YouTube channel. I want to know. Drop your comments down below. Also, listen, if you want to be a part of the From the Comments section of the show, drop your name and where you're from and your questions, and we'll be glad to answer them. Before you leave, make sure you hit that like button, okay? Make sure you hit that like button so everybody knows how much you like this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you get notified each and every time we drop some new fire content on this page. BQ, tell the people where they can find you.
As always, BQ Speaks on Twitter, and then the Impact Lounge on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook too. I do a pretty shitty job with Facebook. I'm not gonna lie to you, but Instagram, I mean, the Impact Lounge is on Facebook, so you can look up the page and like it.
Shout out to the Impact Fan Nation Facebook group. I think that's the only Impact Facebook group that I'm in. That's a fun one, you know, jump in there for some conversation. You can find me at TW Talking About on your social media of choice. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on the Fanbase app. I'm on Facebook, but I got no interest in being friends with you guys, so don't look me up on Facebook. You can also follow my podcast page at Talking About Pod. Tweet me, I tweet back. I would say I live tweet Impact Wrestling, but I don't even know when the hell I'm going to be watching Impact Wrestling from week to week.
Right.
I'll live tweet pay-per-views and any other fun wrestling stuff going on. Like I said, tweet me, I tweet back. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Listen, if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you share it to your Facebook page, share it to your Twitter, say, listen to these idiots talk all this craziness. If you're listening to the podcast, you know, share it with somebody. If you got another friend that likes wrestling, share it with them. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. For BQ, I'm TW. This is The Cool Factor. Peace.